The Miami Dolphins are going to part ways with Jalen Ramsey. They're going to trade him to a different team. Should that team be the Arizona Cardinals? Before you groan and say no, let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Cardinals, Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, free wherever you get your podcast, and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button, man. We're on the road to 4,000 subscribers. Wouldn't be here without you. So thank you for being a part of the best part of my day. So I was going to do just one segment on this, but I think a full show is warranted, and I'm going to tell you why. I was on with my buddy, Bo Brock, former co-host of mine here on PHNX yesterday, and we talked about Jalen Ramsey for about 20 minutes. And I transformed from absolutely not to convincing myself that offering, depending on what the offer is, and depending on what the contract would be, which I'll divulge a little bit here, could be a lot worse than trading for Jalen Ramsey. Let's talk this through together. Okay, we're going to go over the pros. We're going to go over the cons. And then inevitably, should the Cardinals make an offer and see if you could bring in number 5 to play alongside Max Melton and Garrett Williams. Now, all the groans, all the no's, they're all right now. Comments, I get it. Just bear with me for 25 minutes. And let's talk about all options. I implore people on this show to think for themselves and not just, oh, well, this is what everybody's saying. So it's easier to let's just chill. So Jalen Ramsey, top 20 corner, according to Pro Football Focus overall last year. I think it was 16. Okay. Had a couple interceptions. He's been an all-world corner in some form or fashion since being drafted out of Florida State. Okay. Whether it be Jacksonville, the Rams, or the Dolphins, the dude has been better than most. There's a lot of bad corners in this league. There's a lot more Eli Apples than Jalen Ramsey's. So immediate pros, he fits Jonathan Gannon's mold. Longer, lanky, likes to hit people, good against the run. That's what they look for in a corner. Obviously good against the pass too. I mean, what are we doing here? That's a pro, number 1. The biggest pro for me, and this is something that I've alluded to throughout the last couple seasons, namely with Marvin Harrison Jr. last draft, and you'll hear what I'm saying in a second, he wouldn't be traded to save the defense. Just like Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't drafted to save the offense like Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors were. Marvin Harrison Jr. was drafted to be a part of an offense and hopefully elevate to become a wide receiver one that everybody thinks he can be. Jalen Ramsey would not be brought in to be like, oh man, they don't have any corner talent. Got to sell 5 draft picks to come get him and then give him $100 million. That's not this. He's 30. The time is right. There's a lot of situations, and I discussed this with the Budda Baker and James Conner situation before the contract decision when everybody's like, no, get rid of him. Like, dude, just chill. Look at this rationally. They're not going to reset the market. They're too old to do that. And that's a benefit for the team, especially if a player is playing well more youthfully than what their age would indicate. And that's the same thing with Jalen Ramsey. We'll talk about his contract in a second. I just wanted to bang these pros, this pro bullet points out because Jonathan Gannon guy will fit the defense, wouldn't be brought in to save the defense, and he's not going to garner top corner money for his services. What Miami did, 3 years, 73, I think it was like 25 mil guaranteed. That was added on to his current contract. So like the pro to this also is really this is a 1-year, $21 million deal. Okay. There's an out after this year. They'd rip everything up. Obviously, if you trade for him, you knock down the cap number this year and you extend him. What I would think it'd be, you add on 2 more years. So this year, next year, guaranteed, and then the out after the third, the Monty Ossenfort special. You give him between $20 and $30 million guaranteed over the course of the contract, which isn't a lot. And you see what happens. Because this is the perfect time. I'm kind of foreshadowing what the final segment would be, where I finally land on this. You don't need to get younger on defense. Plus, it's not going to cost you more than a day 3 pick. So if all those things lined up, that would collectively be a pro for trading for Jalen Ramsey. You don't have to pay him a whole lot compared to what he got, a handful of years ago. You wouldn't have to give up a whole lot. You'd have your bevy of picks. You'd still have Garrett Williams and Paris Johnson Jr. and Marvin Harrison Jr. on rookie scale contracts, and all the rookies they draft this year. You got Darius Robinson and Bijay Ojulari rookie scale contracts. You got Calais Campbell and Dalvin Tomlinson collectively making $20 million guaranteed over the next 2 seasons. Obviously, Dalvin is the only one who's under contract for 2 seasons. Like, Max Melton's rookie scale, Adrian Taylor Demerson's rookie scale, Jalen Thompson now looks like a steal, and Budda Baker, it wasn't a huge deal to begin with. Like, it works in the cap, which is my final pro, is it works. This doesn't jettison a future. You're not mortgaging any sort of future to bring in Jalen Ramsey at all. They can spend the money. And I know people, Cardinals fans forever, are like, oh, no, too expensive. It's like, why? I think people are so used to, who are fans of the Cardinals, thinking all of the money that gets paid to players is too much, or it's a wrong contract, or they're not worth it, or all this stuff. It's like, just because that's what people grew up with and have, sustained thoughts about without really any sort of infringement over the last 20 years, doesn't mean that it's happening now. Just because you can't get around that mental hurdle to see what's going on right in front of you doesn't mean that it's not happening right in front of you. The pros far outweigh the cons, which is bonkers to me. Because 3 days ago, I was like, no. And I'm like, well, let's think about it. Let's think about and chip away every, element that would go into trading for a player like him. Hey, he's got an ego. Okay. So do all top corners. It's like, this is like, I'm going to save it for the last segment. So you got to hang. Trust me, we're only about 18 minutes away. You can chill. Go do some pushes or something. Jonathan Gannon guy. He's not brought in to save the team, save the defense. It's not going to be super expensive because he's 30 compared to what it would have been 5 years ago. And I'd much rather pay what it is now for 75% of Jalen Ramsey to put into this young, hungry, ready to rock defense than if you were to trade from him at 25 or something, like you'd take him from the Rams to the Cardinals. Like that's not this. And finally, and this is the one that shatters brainwaves for Cardinals fans who have, again, the Stockholm syndrome for losing and dysfunction. The Cardinals can 100% afford to do it. They wouldn't be mortgaging their future, and they wouldn't have to give too much draft capital. You say, would you rather draft Will Johnson at 16 or trade for Jalen Ramsey and give him $25 or $27 million over 3 years? It's a no-brainer. You trade for Jalen Ramsey. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. What are the cons? There's pros and cons to every situation. I'll discuss those next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by LinkedIn. No cons to LinkedIn, all pros. As a small business owner, your work doesn't end when the clock hits 5. Your business is always on your mind, which means when it's time to hire, you need a partner that works just as hard as you do. And that's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates all in one place. So this is how it works. The Post Your Job feature. LinkedIn's new feature can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. And here's a pro tip. Add the hashtag hiring frame to your profile picture to double your reach to qualified candidates. No wonder 72% of small businesses say LinkedIn helps you find high-quality jobs. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. So listen, I know it's a mind shift. It's kind of a mind screw in the same sense where it's like, oh, this is what a stable infrastructure can provide. Like, when was the last time the Arizona Cardinals were tied to a free agent or top flight trade candidate before this offseason? Nobody saw DeAndre Hopkins coming. That was McNair to Bidwell. Steve Keim got credit for that, but he shouldn't have. That was owner to owner. Okay. You can thank Bill O'Brien for that. But, it doesn't happen. And now it just happens. Oh, Josh Sweat, Cardinals. Oh, Dalvin Tomlinson, Cardinals. Oh, Jalen Ramsey, Cardinals on the short list. It's like, yeah, this is what happens when you build slowly, methodically, and rationally, and functionally. Not a great day for people who think that things are burning down with the ship like they always have. Not a fantastic, few weeks. Join the other side. It's not rainbows and butterflies just to be rainbows and butterflies. Okay? The cons to trading for Jalen Ramsey. He's 30. That's a con, okay? Obviously, you want somebody who's 23 to play corner who you can be on a rookie scale contract where he's making a few $1 million a year and not 7 or 8, which is or 9, whatever it would be. If you were to trade for him naturally, it's a con. It's not a pro that he's older than a lot of other players in the league. Doesn't mean he's old. Doesn't mean he's older. Cons. Teams, guys who bounce around teams, it's not usually a good thing. There's something missing there where it's like, oh, I'm not happy. I want out. And dealt with this with Patrick Peterson. Hey, maybe Jalen Ramsey will get enshrined into the Ring of Honor. Patrick Peterson complained more than him. Cons. It would be, I guess, the second real plant of a player who has no ties to this organization, getting put in and just hoping it works. And obviously, if they say they hypothetically were to trade for him on draft day or around draft day, they'd have plenty of time. They'd have all the OTAs, they'd have all the camps, they'd have everything to get, acclimated to being CB1 for this team. Like him and Dalvin Tomlinson were the other one. Because Dalvin, he just came over. I know he has Cleveland ties, but he came over. It was a plant outside of, they aren't the lineage of Josh Sweat and Jonathan Gannon. There isn't a strong tie like that, which doesn't matter incredibly. It's not something that would weigh, oh, it's 50-50. Oh, he has nothing to do with the organization. No, it's not that. But it's a con because all you know about him is what you've seen in the NFC West and what you've seen on tape and things like that. Another con, and this is compared to where they're at now. He'd make more money than any other corner that would be playing CB1 this year. So while the Cardinals can afford it, and while he's worth the money, top 20 corner last year. How many teams are there in the NFL? Top 20 corner without Christian Wilkins, with Bradley Chubb being hurt all year. They had no real semblance of a pass rush. Still, top 20. Could be worse. He'd be making more. It'd probably be $10 million a year, which for corner standards isn't incredible. I mean, it's not nosebleeds. I mean, Garrett Williams is going to get more than that, you'd think, on average per year when he's up in I think after next season, if Monty doesn't want to do it early. Or it's after this season because he's, year 3. Yeah, so it'll be after this season. He's going to get more. And then I guess the final con, but it's more of a question. Is the Cardinals organization now stable enough, culture-wise, leadership-wise, infrastructure-wise, to be able to handle more of an ego than anybody they have on the roster now? It's more of a question than, the Cardinals won't be able to handle this. Different organization. They just wear the same uniforms. Different organization. They just wear the same uniforms. And, I've struggled with this. And I'm going to give my thoughts on if I think the Cardinals should aggressively loose, but be as aggressive as Monty Ossenfort is, intrinsically, inherently, to make Jalen Ramsey an Arizona Cardinal before week 1 of 2025. I'm going to give my thoughts officially on the matter next. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are here, man. I guess the play-in, technically the playoffs are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I mean, we saw a couple pretty good games last night with Atlanta and the Magic. Magic ran away with it at the end, and then Golden State and Memphis went back and forth. There's a couple more today, and then the playoffs kick off on Saturday, like officially first round. If you want to put some cheese on who's going to win the whole thing, there's 5 teams that could win it. You could do that at FanDuel. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. Leave a like on the video. Leave a comment. The comments have been more and more every week. Thank you. I appreciate it. I love interacting with you guys and gals. And every day is whether you've been here, this is your first show, or if you've been here all 9 years. Thank you. Or 8 years. This is 9th season. It's only going to get better from here. And with that, simple question: should the Arizona Cardinals aggressively go after Jalen Ramsey and trade for him if the money and the return, draft capital wise, is correct? Yes. The pros far outweigh the cons. The pros far outweigh the cons. Let's go over the pros again. Pro. Top 20 corner last year. Pro. He fits the mold of what Jonathan Gannon wants for an outside corner. Pro. He's not going to be traded for to save the defense. This isn't a Hail Mary attempt to keep the foundation on defense in place like Steve Keim did with, crazy glue and Band-Aids and delaying the inevitable. He will be a cog in the machine behind which the Cardinals have a much improved pass rush room and defensive line. Pro. The Cardinals can afford it. They can afford it. If you want to give him between $25 and $30 million guaranteed total over, a 3-year deal, you restructure year one. He's 1 year 21 right now and out after his current contract at the end of this season. You extend him, you restructure. The Cardinals can afford it. If it's a 4th-round pick and you can get Jalen Ramsey, yeah, you do it. And then number 5, if you ask me to choose between Will Johnson at 16 or a corner at 16, or trading a 4th-round pick for Jalen Ramsey, a proven guy who can keep this locomotive moving downhill like it needs to move this season, regardless of injury, talent, or otherwise, I'm taking Jalen Ramsey without even thinking about it. He would be a plug-and-play outside corner to couple with Budda Baker, Garrett Williams, and that vaunted front 7 the Cardinals have now. Or defensive front the Cardinals have now. I think it's a no-brainer. Now, a couple of the outliers here: 1, how much he's going to want; 2, which obviously would be discussed before any trade would be made; and 2, what if Miami wants a 3rd-rounder for him? Say the money's right and it's a 3rd-rounder instead of a 4th-rounder, I'm still doing it. But you can use your top 2 picks on some form or fashion of pass rush, interior defensive line, or offensive lineman. Draft picks are the most overvalued entity and most inflated entity in professional sports. I'm taking the proven guy. I'm taking the guy who's been all world. I'm taking the guy who's been a Pro Bowler year in and year out, as opposed to maybe a 3rd-round pick that may work out or may not. The Cardinals don't need to get younger. They're in a perfect spot. I compared it to a solar lunar eclipse, whatever it is. We're starting to see the sun and the moon separate, and there's that sweet spot right when they do where the Cardinals can pounce. And we're starting to get to that point where a lot of the impact players aren't going to be making a lot of money for the next couple seasons. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. longer, Paris Johnson Jr. and Garrett Williams shorter, but this is the time. Trey McBride already got paid. Budda Baker already got paid. James Conner already got paid. They're not going to have to pay a whole bunch of guys for the next year or 2. And this is where you can jump. this is where you can pounce. And then you restructure Kyler Murray's contract if he stays after this year. You add some more cap space this way. The Cardinals have all of the leverage in this situation. They have the ability to do this without breaking the bank. They have the ability to do this without mortgaging the future. So when you look at the Cardinals trading for Jalen Ramsey as an exercise, the only downside is that he's 30, but look at Aqib Talib, Richard Jefferson, Darrelle Revis, Stephon Gilmore still playing at a high level. I mean, he dropped off a little bit last year, but a corner at 30 may not be able to lead the brigade from the DB room, but to be a proven guy to come in with an upstart, young, ready to rip secondary, yeah, I think it should be a no-brainer. Obviously, again, predicated upon contract and draft capital. But put Jalen Ramsey wearing number 5 on the Arizona Cardinals next year, that's a top 10 defense. You take it. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you tomorrow.